Welcome to this episode, and in this episode I would like us to work on pagination. And just to explain why we need pagination is that currently we are loading 10 users from our database. Supposing the number of users that we were loading here were 50 or 100, you would require to scroll all the way up until the 100 records for you to be able to view each record. But with pagination, you can be able to be shown a portion of the records, and then you can be able to go to the next and the next up until you're able to look at all of them within the limits of your page without going outside of this scrolling or the page that we have here. So that is what I would like us to do. But I have a few things that I would like to talk about that we did in the previous tutorial. There's something here that we did not quite do it, because now you see on the edge here, all the records are numbered as number 1. And that is what I would like us to first of all go ahead and address. And I would like to open the customer page, the one that we were working with in our previous tutorial. And in this customer page, we had the each loop, and we were looping through each customers as customer, and then we were putting their details here. Now we can be able to pass the index of each in this loop for each customer as it loops. Then you assign them indices, and we can just do that by having an I here like that. And in Svelte, this just does it. So if I change this table row, the first sort of like table header, I can be able now to use I like that. And once I save, then you can be able to see that our list is now numbered. Our list of customers are numbered, and we are numbering from 0. But in this case, numbering from the 0 is not okay. I think we can just modify. But this one is how the indexes are, or the indices are, the numbering of the index. So the first record will be called 0, and then the last one will be 9 out of 10 records. But for us, we just want numbering of the records from 1 up until 10. So what I'm going to say, in this place where we're having I, I'm just going to say I plus 1. And once we do that, this you'll be able to solve for us the issue. So you can see we have 1 up to 10. So that is good enough. Another thing that maybe I think is important for me to do, as you can see when we click on customers, we have this loader here. And we can also include a spinner. So we have, when we click here, we have a loader, and also on this side we have a spinner. And that is what I would like us to just work on. And for us to be able to enable that, we go to our app.js file. And inside this app.js file, then we are going to add some portion of code. And we are going to add our progress indicator. So in this case, in Inertia, we have progress indicator. So I will say progress like that. And then we are going to have a full colon. And then inside here now we can be able to put the parameters that will be able to control our progress bar. So delay, you can set a delay. We can have it like 250. Milliseconds, and then we can have color, the color of the progress bar, and this one you can be able to set in accordance to your theme. And for me, I just want us to just remain with the blue, so you will put the hex color code of whatever it is that you want here, and I'm going to just have 29D. These ones are sort of like the defaults that we usually have. And then we have, we can either decide to include CSS, and you can either set this to true or false. Then the other thing now, the last thing, and this one is now for the progress bar. And then the last thing now is the spinner. So we can say show spinner. And this we are also going to set to true, like that. So once we have it like that, then if we come and check, now when we click here, now you can see that there is a spinner on this other side, at least. Yes, and I think that's good enough. Now I want us to continue now and create our pagination. And for us to be able to do that, I'm going to create inside shares something like a sort of a component. So the spinner component. So I'm going to just create a new file, and I'm going to call it pagination .svelte, like that. And then now inside here, of course, in a Svelte file, we have script. And then after the script, now we have all the HTML that we're supposed to have here. And for us, I would like to go to bootstrap.com and get a pagination HTML data. So we go to get bootstrap.com, and here I would just like to search pagination. You see if we can be able to get something to that effect. Yes, we have pagination, and I would like to have a centered one. So I'll just, because I'm not doing a tutorial on design, I just like to copy this one, the one that the pagination is somehow centered like this. And so I'm going to paste here like that. And then I would like to import this pagination in our customer page. So here I can also say import pagination from at /shared. So we are referring to this folder, and then pagination .svelte, like that. And then now this pagination, we can be able to put it right after our table. So after we are done with our table, I can be able to have pagination like that. And I think that will be it. You can just have it like this instead of having it that way. You can just have it like this, and we have sort of a closing tag like that. So now when we open our page, as you can see, after the 10th user, now we have the pagination. And then for this table also, I would like to just make it a little bit smaller. Our table, the table rows are very large in terms of size. So here I can say table, change the class a little bit. So table class table, and I can say table small, for just making our table a little bit compact. Now you can see it looks nice, and here we have our pagination. So now I would like us to go ahead and now do pagination in our controller. If we do pagination the normal way in Laravel, what you usually do, we just say in our, now as we will be getting our data like this, we can just say, instead of saying get, we could say paginate, and then we say 5, something of that sort, paginate, and then we say 5 records. But when you do it like this, it is not possible, it is a bit difficult for us to be able to pass this, or in other words, be able to return it properly with Svelte and Inertia. So as you can see, whatever it is that you have will be displayed as follows. So it's doing a little bit of loading. I do not know if it's an error or what. Let me check. Yes, the data is returned, but now you can see it's returning a little bit more than what we were picking initially. But now when you work with this, then you will have a problem. So we have the records, is the first page, the first 5 records, and then we have first page from last page, and then we have links. In this case, links is what we will be interested in. And when you look at links, you have a URL of null, and this is previous. So in other words, for previous, we have nothing. And then for the first page, we have some data, the second page, the third page, like that. And so what we are going to pass to our pagination component are these links. But we need to modify whatever it is that we are having here. We will not be able to get the data like this because it will be a little bit problematic for us. So let me modify, because we also need to remove some of the things that we don't require. And for us to be able to do that, then we are going to use through method that is provided for in Laravel. And so what we are going to have, we are going to say customer paginate, like that, and then we are going to say how many records per. So I can say we just want 3 records per each, and then we are going to use through. So through, and this one will assist us to just modify our data and have it looking perfectly fine. So here we can pass in a function. Let me close this sidebar such that you can be able to be visible a little bit. Maybe probably I can be able to push this one out down a little bit for just purposes of being a little bit readable, like that, through. And inside here we're going to have a function, like that. And inside our function we are going to have to pass in now a single customer. And then now we can be able to now return whatever it is that we want from this data. So we will say return, and then we are going to say which columns we want. So the first column I want is ID. Even though, are we using ID in our front end? We are not, probably, maybe, because of editing and updating we might need. So here we can say customer ID, and then name, you can have it as customer name, and then we have email, you can have it as customer email, like that, and then we have phone, and then we are going to have as customer phone. So as we pass in the data to this function, we are passing a single customer from whatever it is that we have here, and then for each of that customer we are getting the customer ID, the customer name, the customer email, and the phone, and then after that we are returning it to the front end. So we were doing it like this such that we were having the array previously, and I would just like us to try and refresh and see how our data now looks. So we will have it like that. Our first page, we have 3 records. These, the first one with an ID of 1, an ID of 2, and an ID of 3, and then we have links. So here, since we are returning it in a variable called customers, then if we access customer.data, it will be able to give us whatever it is that we are having here. So I'm going to modify whatever it is that we have in customer.svelte, And here we are going to, instead of having for each customers as customer, I'm going to say each customers dot data, just to access the customer data. And as you can see, if I'm able to remove the return in our controller, in our index method of the controller, let me just go back to the controller and remove this one, because this one is the one that is making it return for us some JSON data. If we remove that, and now we come and refresh, as you can see, our data is being displayed perfectly. But now we are only having 3 records. Why are we having 3 records? Because we have actually mentioned that we want to paginate 3. So it's just picking 3 records from the database and showing us. And then if we go next, then you'll be shown 3 more records like that. So sort of in a paginated way. Now, if we want to access the other data, we are now going to pass as props from our customer .svelte here. We are going to pass here in our pagination, we are going to pass links. So the links, and I think I have already shown you what those links contain: the previous URL, the other URLs, and then the next URL, something of that sort. So that's what you're going to pass in here, and you'll be able to pass it as props. And what I'm going to say is that we are going to call it links, and the data that we are going to set for these links is now customer dot customers dot links, like that. So because we are receiving these customers through this this sort of like a property, then if we access customer dot links, then we will be able to get the previous page. If we are in page 1, the previous page will be null, and then you get the current page and then the other pages. So basically that is what you're going to do. And this one, I've not done it correctly. We need to have the curly braces, because otherwise if we have it like that, we will have problems, because we just pass a text called customer links, and that one will not be beneficial. So, and we do not even need to have we do not need to have the quotation marks, just like this links is customers dot links. So we have been able to pass the links to this sort of like component, and now let us go ahead and be able to use those links in pagination.svelte. So inside here, I want us to be able to go ahead and do a few things. So we're just going to customize, because this one is exactly the way I copied it from the other side, that is from Bootstrap. So let us work with it and see. So here after nav, I want to have an if function, and an if function in Svelte, this is what you do. And we are just going to check if the links are not equals to 3, or in other words, they are not greater than 3. Because if we have them as greater as 3 of them, then you just need the first page and the previous and the next only. But then if we have more than that, then we can be able to talk about the others. So here we can say if links and we will check for 2 things. So we can also say and links dot length is not equals to 3. So in other words, the first thing we are checking if we have links. If the links are there and they are more than 3, then we can be able to show them here. And now because we have an if opening if function, Then we have to close it at the end of nav. So here is where I'm going to close our if, and we just have the curly braces, and we can say if, just like that, and that will be perfect. And then now I want also to go ahead and be able to loop through the links, and if we are looping through, we use each. So down here I want us to have the each sort of like a function, so we can say each links as link, and this sort of like data, we have done something of this previously, similar to this previously, and then now we can be able to close it down here and say and each, so in other words just / each, so sort of like the close of that. And then we can be able to have an instance where the link is actually null. So for example, if we are on the first page, there's no previous page, and so in our pagination we have the previous page as null. So if we have it as null, I want to handle that challenge, and then we will just have a link that even if somebody clicks it, you go nowhere. So that is what I want us to do here. So I'm going to have another if function, so I can say if #if link dot URL is null. So if the link is null, then we are going to just have a link here that we are going to say use Inertia to just use Inertia for the SPA filling, and of course here I have to import Inertia, and you remember this we also did in our previous tutorial, so I think we are just fine from Inertia.js Svelte, like that. So we can say use Inertia, and we can have an href tag for a link that takes us somewhere, but in this case this one takes us nowhere because we do not have a link here anyway. So then I also want to have another condition, so in this case we can say else, and for us to say else in Svelte we can just put a full colon and have else, like that, and then we can now be able to handle the other circumstance. So in this case, if the link is null, then we forget about it, we just have it, but if somebody clicks on it, then it does nothing. But then if the link is now not null, then we can be able to show the link, or in other words give a URL to that link. So in this case I'm going to remove most of these li tags, list tags, and we will just have only this one. And so here I'm going to first of all end the if, because we have not ended it, and then we can be able to handle this link. So let us go ahead and do something about it. So here I want us to have it like that, and maybe I can move this downwards, the a tag, such that we can be able to just deal with it. So here we are having href, and now we are going to visit our link URL. So we can be able to bind the URL here, so we can just say link.url, and I will show you the data as we are returning it from the sort of like from the Laravel end, and then inside here the name of this link, so in other words the label, we are just going to say link dot label. But in this case, this you bring for us a problem, and for now let me just leave it like that. We go and check what kind of problem I'm talking about. But for now we can be able to again refresh our data, and we are having a problem, it seems. Let me check and see what could be the issue. Link.label, and here we have href link URL, and this one is having nothing. And then, oh yes, here we can also have the link label, even for this one where the page is not working. So let us also have link dot label like that. And first of all, let me just show how the data will be returned, because it seems we are having a problem. But before we sort that one out, I just want us to go back to our controller, the customer controller, and then I show you where we are getting the label and where we are getting those other things. So here I can just say return, and then we check. So when we refresh, then now you can see inside links we have the URL of null, that is if previous is not there, and we have the label as previous. But as you can see, the label also has some HTML information, and then of course we have URL label of 1 active, and so on and so forth. So when we display the label, we display that specific page, and then active false, and then we have this one active as being true. So in this case you can also be able to set a color if it is active in this case. So all those things, such that when it is active we can be able to have a specific different color. So let us go ahead and see how we can be able to sort the issue. And we are having several problems on the console, but I would like to just check, to just refresh and check if we are having any error on console. And yes, we have. It says unrecoverable, uncaught promise, links is not defined. Links is not defined, so there's nothing that we are passing as links. So yes, we have not actually defined links, because yes, I can see where we have the issue. We are not passing the links now to because we have passed it to the props, but we have not acknowledged it. So let us go back to pagination.svelte, and then we move downwards, upwards here where we have import, and up here I just want us to get the links that we are bringing to this place. So we can just say export let links, like that. So once we do like that, and I think everything here will be fine. I know we are being warned of having issues with the others. Now you can see if we are not cleaning up the HTML, you can see for previous we are having something, and for next we are also having some things here. So that is what I would like us to just work on. And so what we are going to do, we are going to just use at HTML to just pass our HTML, or in other words just clean up our HTML such that we display it perfectly. So in Laravel we have VHTML, and here we can just say at in view, here we can just say at HTML like that, and it will do the trick. We will not have whatever it is that we are having there, like that. Now we can even say, because it's giving a problem about this one, we can just put a hash inside here, and I think that will just be it. Even that one is being refused, so I can remove it. We just have it like that. So after that, now when you look at it, we actually have the previous page, and now you can see previous is not even active. But when we click page 1, we're having customers page 1. When we click page 2, we're having page 2. When we click page 3, we're having page 3. When we click page 4, we're actually having just a single set of data. Now I would like us to go ahead and see how we can be able to set the active clicked on link here. So if we are currently at link number 2, at page number 2, we want it to be active here as that page. So that is what I would like us to do as we finish this episode. We can actually go ahead and check if the link is active by just checking it here. Now you can see we are giving it a page link, and if we want it to be active, then we are supposed to give it a class of page link active. So this is what we are going to modify dynamically, and I'm just going to remove this. This is what we are going to do. So we are going to use Svelte to be able to show our link dynamically. So we will check if the link dot active. So if active has been set to true, so link dot active, if it is true, then we are going to do something. We are going to have a class. The class that we are going to show will be page and actually this one we are going to put it outside, not here. Let me just refresh. Let me just undo. We are going to put it is not here. We are going to put it here. The page link will remain. We are going to put it inside this list item. This is where we are going to put it dynamically. So I'm going to remove this, and we are going to have link dot active. So if it is true, then we are going to pass to give it a class of page hyphen item and then space active, and it will have some bluish on whatever it is that you'll be displaying. And then if this condition is not satisfied, then the class that we are going to put, I'm going to put a full colon here, and the class that we are going to put is just page hyphen item, like that. And I think that will do the trick. So let us go ahead and check it out. We are having an issue. Oh, I think this was something that was there before. So now you can see up here we are in page 4, and 4 is active. When I click on the third pagination, also page 3 and 3 is active. When I click on page 2, 2 and 2 is active. When I click on page 1, 1 is active, and here is active. Even if I click on next, it will just show that page that we have moved to, like that, and then like that to the last page. Thank you very much for following this tutorial up until this point.